The story begins with a little boy sits high up in a tree, proudly showing off to his mother, who is washing clothes in the river, and his older brother, who is fishing nearby. Suddenly, an enemy plane appears in the sky. His mother yells for her sons to hide, but Sergei stands his ground, claiming he isn't afraid. He loads his slingshot with a pine cone and takes aim. In his imagination, he lands a perfect shot, taking down one plane, then another. Overwhelmed with excitement, he calls out to his mother and brother, but they aren't there anymore. The scene fades. It was just a dream. The harsh reality crashes back as a neighbor shakes him awake, urging him to run. His family has been killed, accused of helping the partisans. If the enemy finds him, he'll suffer the same fate. Before they can escape, soldiers with rifles appear. The woman has no time. She shoves little Sergei out the window, sacrificing herself as gunfire tears through the house. Sergei runs, the sound of gunshots and burning homes fading behind him as he stumbles into the forest. A 6-year-old, lost, terrified, and alone. He refuses to believe his mother is gone. He keeps calling for her, but only silence answers. By morning, thirst drives him to a riverbank, but enemy soldiers arrive, forcing him to hide. Pressed against the roots of a tree, he barely breathes. Then, something moves. A snake slithers just inches from his face. His heart pounds. If he screams, he's dead. He clenches his fists, holding his breath until the danger passes. He survives, but hunger gnaws at him. He scours the ground for scraps of food left by the soldiers. It's barely enough, but he pushes forward, his small body weak and exhausted. Through mud and swamps, he trudges on. The roar of artillery fills the air, shaking the ground beneath his feet. At night, shadows in the forest morph into creatures, taunting him. He shouts at them, daring them to come closer, to see that he isn't afraid. The only peace he finds is in his dreams, where his mother pours fresh milk for him and his brother. But his strength is failing. His legs give out. He can barely keep his eyes open. In a daze, he sees a small hedgehog scurrying nearby and whispers, asking it to find help. At the last moment, help comes. A group of Soviet soldiers stumbles upon him. They were on a mission but can't ignore the sight of a half-frozen, starving child. Their decision to take him back to camp angers their commander, but they refuse to leave him behind. In the warmth of a tent, Sergei barely registers what's happening. A man with a wounded arm kneels beside him, introducing himself as
Kuznetsov Nikolai Sergeyevich.
The boy's lips tremble as he answers his questions. It doesn't take long for everyone to realize Sergei has nowhere to go. He is now an orphan. A cook brings him a steaming bowl of food, and the soldiers gather around trying to comfort him, surrounding him with warmth and care. The next day, as the sun rises over the camp, the men sit outside, chatting and joking. The soldier who found him, Andrei, practices German while the unit's tailor, Yakov Moisevich, patches up his uniform. For the first time in what feels like forever, Sergei isn't alone. Among the soldiers, there's also Rizzo, the orderly, and the older, experienced Yegor Maximovich. The light-hearted banter among them comes to an abrupt end as an enemy attack interrupts their conversation. In the medical tent, nurse Aunt Katya tends to Seryoja's wounds while trying to feed him the thick, hearty stew made by the rotund cook, Petrovich. Curious about Commander Kuznetsov, Seryoja bombards Katya with questions about his medals and courage. Growing up surrounded by war, loss, and danger, the boy is consumed by one thought: how to become a man, strong and fearless, someone who can protect others. While Andrei and the nurses lead a stray goat into the camp, Kuznetsov visits Seryoja and immediately senses how deeply the boy has grown attached to him. In Seryoja's eyes, he is both a father figure and a role model. The boy eagerly asks to see Kuznetsov's medal for bravery and his personal pistol, but even such an esteemed soldier does not have everything. Katya, determined to keep Seryoja safe, pleads with the commander not to send him away to an orphanage in the rear. She promises to take responsibility for him, and the rest of the soldiers silently agree.
Ребенку здесь не место.
However, Kuznetsov doesn't like the idea. Later, the nurses fill out paperwork debating the boy's future. Katya fears that if he's sent away now, she might never find him again. Rita, another nurse, mutters that Kuznetsov is a stubborn officer who never bends the rules. The soldiers have also grown attached to Seryoja, and Yegor Maximovich speaks on behalf of the entire unit, urging the commander to let the boy stay. To them, he represents everything they are fighting for: their children waiting back home, the civilians they are protecting, and the future they are sacrificing themselves for. But Kuznetsov's way of showing care is different. He knows that keeping the boy in the middle of war is too dangerous. No matter how much Seryoja wants to stay, the commander stands firm. Battles continue. Under a storm of bullets and tank fire, Katya drags a wounded soldier from the trenches. Despite his injured arm, Kuznetsov leads the charge, covering the retreat of the wounded. When the fight is over, Seryoja, now fully recovered, roams the camp as if nothing happened. Then, the truck arrives. It's time for Seryoja to be taken to safety. Before he leaves, Kuznetsov carves a small wooden pistol and gives it to the boy as a keepsake. Seryoja hesitates, his voice filled with emotion, as he admits he was afraid for Kuznetsov and waited for him. The commander, touched by the words, realizes something. Other than this boy, there is no one left waiting for him. Instead of sending Seryosha away, Kuznetsov makes an unexpected decision. He offers to adopt him. The soldiers, overjoyed, erupt into a lively debate in Yakov Moiseevich's workshop, arguing over the perfect size for Seryoja's new uniform. Seryoja continues to dream of peaceful days and his mother. He is now moved from the medical tent to the commander's quarters. Early in the morning, Kuznetsov wakes him up with a surprise, a real military uniform. The boy eagerly puts it on, learning how to dress quickly, just like a real soldier. Before he has time to enjoy his new outfit, enemy aircraft strike. Chaos erupts in the camp as bombs explode around them. Seryosha runs through the battlefield, dodging bodies and smoke, terrified of losing the people who have become his family. A field medic scolds him for panicking and tells him that in war the only thing to do is believe in victory and help however he can. Taking the advice to heart, Seryosha begins bringing water to the wounded in the medical tent. One soldier with damaged eyes asks him to read a letter from home, but the boy doesn't know how to read. Thinking quickly, he makes up a heartwarming story instead, bringing laughter to the soldiers. Then he sings a song for them, lifting their spirits despite the pain around them. Later that night, Katya soothes him, letting him rest on her lap. Kuznetsov approaches, but Seryosha suddenly wakes up, asking only one thing. Did they defeat the enemy? He has started calling Kuznetsov Papa. The boy proudly shares his progress in overcoming fear and declares that he wants to be Kuznetsov's assistant, his personal orderly. Understanding that everyone has their role in war, he asks who made his uniform, eager to thank them. They walk through the camp and reach the ruins of Yakov Moiseevich's tent. Seryosha continues to mimic the soldiers, shaving, saluting, and preparing for his first real duty. Kuznetsov finally gives him an official task, delivering mail to the different units. The soldiers are overjoyed when they receive letters from home. As part of tradition, those who get mail must dance the barinya as a celebration, something Seryosha finds both amusing and heartwarming. One day, while wandering near the river with binoculars, he spots something unusual, a foot sticking out from a haystack. Rushing back to camp, he reports it to Andrei and convinces the scouts to investigate. Meanwhile, Kuznetsov and his driver pick up Katya and Rita, who were out collecting berries. Rita playfully asks Kuznetsov who is waiting for him back home, but he simply states that he has no one. The scouts reach the haystack and set it on fire, forcing out two hidden enemy scouts who are quickly captured. Seryosha returns to his mail duties, but feels a heavy weight in his heart when he realizes that not all the soldiers make it back to receive their letters and dance. His efforts do not go unnoticed, and he longs to have a real weapon and an official rank. Finally, the adoption papers arrive. Seryosha is officially staying with the regiment. Excited, Kuznetsov and Seryosha hurry to share the news with Katya. They find her by the river, but they're not the only ones looking for her. A soldier has been pursuing her with unwanted attention, and just as she grows uncomfortable, Seryosha rushes in to interrupt. Kuznetsov, watching from a distance, does nothing. Instead of stepping in, he hesitates, avoiding the situation. During another battle, Seryosha bravely delivers ammunition to the trenches under enemy fire. Yegor Maximovich, worried for his safety, orders him to take shelter in the commander's bunker. The boy refuses, but an order from a superior leaves him no choice. Reluctantly, Seryosha obeys and watches the battle unfold from the bunker. When one of the units loses communication, Kuznetsov orders the radio operator to fix it. Not wanting to be left behind, Seryosha sneaks out, determined to help. He finds the broken wire and crawls through the trenches toward the break. A wounded soldier explains how to reconnect the cables, and the boy carefully repairs the line, restoring communication. After the battle, Seryosha sits beside a soldier, gazing up at the stars. In the constellations of the Big and Little Dipper, he sees a mother and daughter. But where is the father? His thoughts shift beyond war and bravery. He begins to wonder about love. What does it mean to love someone? The question lingers in his mind until the next day when he rushes to Katya. claiming that his father is very sick. Panicked, she drops everything to help, only to find Kuznetsov peacefully sleeping, completely fine. Seryozha had lied, hoping to push the two adults toward each other. To him, their feelings are obvious, but Kuznetsov remains silent. Katya, embarrassed and frustrated, runs off, and Kuznetsov, after a brief hesitation, finally chases after her. A new arrival in the camp, an instructor named Kolya, introduces the soldiers to trained service dogs. Seryozha is fascinated. These dogs assist in battle, carrying first aid supplies and keeping wounded soldiers awake. Watching them work, he realizes that even animals have their own role in war. Eager to experience their skills firsthand, Seryozha begs for a ride on a sled pulled by the dogs, but as soon as they take off, a stray cat dashes across their path, sending the dogs into a frenzy. They bolt after it, dragging Seryozha straight toward a minefield. At the last second, Rizzo speeds in on his motorcycle, blocking the path and saving the boy just in time. Meanwhile, Kuznetsov finally catches up to Katya. Once again, he hesitates, his usual battlefield confidence crumbling in front of her. But this time, he manages to say something. Just enough. Their moment is cut short when orders arrive. The regiment must move out at dawn. The soldiers march along a rural road, eventually stopping in a village where they stay with the locals. For the first time in a long while, Seryozha meets children his own age. As they sit in the warm kitchen, the house's owner casually points to a gaping hole in the floor, a remnant of a German bomb that tore through the roof and floor before, by sheer luck, failing to detonate. Suddenly, a shout rings out. Everyone scrambles outside as Kuznetsov orders sappers to be brought in immediately. The bomb is carefully removed, and with the danger cleared, the regiment resumes its journey. But just as they continue forward, the convoy hits a landmine. The explosion sends Seryozha flying from the vehicle. Dazed but miraculously unharmed, he pulls himself up, only to see that others weren't as lucky. Rizzo, who had saved him just hours ago, won't be continuing the fight. The war is over for him. The regiment finally reaches the main army camp, where Seryozha and Kuznetsov are brought before the general. Always eager for responsibility, the boy asks for another task, and he is assigned to the 2nd Company to inspect their equipment. But when he arrives, the soldiers don't take him seriously. Instead of checking supplies, they offer him tea and chocolate, amused by the little boy playing soldier. Yet Seryozha, determined to prove himself, refuses the treats. When the time comes, the 2nd Company lines up, ready for inspection. Seryozha doesn't know how to write, but the resourceful boy finds a way around it. He asks an officer to write a list of soldiers with torn boots for him, making sure they get replacements. The general is pleased with his initiative, but Seryozha sees an even bigger opportunity. Without hesitation, he turns to the high-ranking officer and makes a bold request, asking for official permission to let his papa and their Katya get married. The division is honored with the title of Guards, a prestigious recognition of their bravery. Seryozha, ever the dreamer, imagines himself stepping forward, receiving a Medal of Honor in front of all his comrades. As he walks past the ranks, he sees the faces of those who have become his family. Andrei, who first found him, kind-hearted Rizzo, wise Yakov Moisevich, and many others, both living and fallen. In his mind, they all look at him with pride. But just as he drifts into his dreams, harsh reality crashes down. He and Nikolai are caught in a direct airstrike. Explosions shake the ground, and as Seryozha scrambles for cover in a trench, he watches in horror as the commander's bunker collapses under the impact. Seryozha rushes to the debris, trying to move the heavy beams trapping Nikolai. His small hands grasp at the wood. His muscles strain, but it's no use. Desperate, he runs to find help. Soldiers race to the scene and manage to pull their commander from the wreckage. Nikolai is severely injured, but alive. In the field hospital, Katya cares for him, while Seryozha visits every chance he gets. The boy clutches his hand, holding back tears, but the sight of the wounded man who became his father overwhelms him. Nikolai, weak but still trying to be strong for him, reminds him that men don't cry. But this time, Seryozha can't stop the tears. This story is based on real events in the life of 6-year-old Seryozha Oleshkov, who fought alongside Soviet soldiers in the Battle of Stalingrad, marched with his regiment all the way to Poland, and was awarded the Medal for Combat Merit.